Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello and welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm Captain Rick Murphy and Brie Gabrielle. Where are you, Brie?
Oh, I'm just behind you, Rick, but you might want to move out of the way because it's ladies' night and we're taking over.
Oh boy, that's
boy.
going to be interesting. But
Yes.
Speaking of ladies, we have a studio full of beautiful ladies. Thank you, girls, for being here. And we also have the lovely Ali Hobson filling in for Dave Farrell, who's out this week going to Guatemala.
Lucky Dave. Dave, we miss you, but I'm so glad to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
Ali, I'm looking forward to the rigs and techniques and
me
certainly
too.
new products for ladies this week.
Lots of good stuff.
Let's get the show going,
Let's
Brie.
get the show on the road. Did you miss me? I'm here. It's okay.
I
You don't
did.
have to
I
do the
was
show
so
without me.
alone without you here.
I know.
But you did look good in that yellow
Well,
Camaro.
thank you. I thought so too.
Yeah.
Rick, what can you tell us about ladies who fish other than we kick some serious fish butt?
You guys really do kick serious fish butt. And I'm looking at the Sports Fishing Magazine pictures. The one thing that comes to mind, and I think that women are such great anglers, is because you guys take all the testosterone out of fishing. You actually listen. And that, to me, is a huge part of why women, in most cases, they're a lot more technical and they understand, as long as their husband or boyfriend's not trying to teach them how to fish, if you know what I mean.
I
Brie.
know exactly what you mean, Rick. All right, well, let's kick off the show in the Derringer Zone with Captain Tommy Derringer in the Northeast region. How are the lady anglers faring up there, Tommy?
They're doing great, guys. Hey, I'm honored that we're starting off Ladies Week here in the Strike Zone Northeast region. And speaking of Strike Zone, I'd like to welcome back Dave Workman and Strike Zone to the show. We're excited to have you back. Now, for the ladies, you know, I have a bunch of friends and clients that are great female anglers, but I'm always excited to have a lady on the boat no matter what their experience level is. Rick was just saying they always seem to end up catching more fish than the guys on the boat. Unless Brie is on the boat, and then you have to reel the fish in for her. But that's
Really? Again with that lie, Tommy? I mean, come on.
No, there's
Just
quite
kidding.
a few different fishing clubs and online communities for ladies here in my region. I spoke with Harriet Simmons, who is a great lady angler from Jacksonville, and she tells me there's some really good Facebook sites and forums out there for the lady anglers to connect with other lady anglers. And instead of me listening to them all, you can get in touch with her on her website at scalesandwhitetails.com, and she can point you in the right direction. I've also talked with a bunch of our local bait and tackle shops, and there are more and more ladies getting into fishing all the time, which is awesome. Now, speaking of bait and tackle shops, I've got a picture here of Elaine Musalem with a nice spotty redfish she caught in St. Augustine. Now, Elaine is the owner of the Bait Shack at the Volano Boat Ramp, and she's there 7 days a week and would be more than happy to get any ladies set up for a day of fishing. Now, Elaine is also a member of the Ancient City Game Fish Association here in St. Augustine and encourages any ladies to join the club, as they have quite a few lady anglers involved. And in fact, right now, it's the club's ladies-only month-long tournament for the whole month of April. Now, moving inshore, we're going to talk about redfish. That redfish bite has been off the chain lately with a ton of both slot and over-slot fish being caught in the creeks and along the ICW throughout the entire region. This weekend, we have an early morning higher tide, which would be perfect for tossing a skitter walk for redfish up along those grass edges. The flats in and around Pelican Creek, as well as the flats and creeks around Pine Island, will be a great place to toss the topwater this weekend at first light. There's just a ton of finger mullet hanging out along those grass lines, and the redfish are just waiting for them right along those edges. Now, I've had some epic charters over the last week fishing the creek holes. The redfish are stacking up right now in those creek holes at low tide, and they're eating just about anything, but most of our fish have come off live shrimp on a quarter-ounce jig head or a live finger mullet on a fish finder rig. And don't be surprised if you catch some nice flounder, as those flounder are starting to show up in the same spot. Now, also, the trout bite has been really good over the last couple of weeks, and the flats just south of the Matanzas Inlet have some big trout in the shallows right now. Fish that moving water around the bigger oyster bars and grass points, as well as the concentrations of mullet. Now, I've also had several reports of some really nice trout being caught on topwaters and diving plugs in Jacksonville around Blunt Island, White Shell, and the docks along the main river from Mayport all the way to Clapboard Creek. Again, look for those concentrations of finger mullet. And now, talking about big trout, I have a cool photo here. This is Elizabeth Saylor with a 30-inch trout she caught on the topwater plug up in Guana Lake. She was out solo this day and had paddled about 4 miles north into the lake when she caught this big trout. said she got lucky and found a couple old-timers in a small boat to snap a quick pic of it before she let her go. Now, moving offshore, we're going to talk about the cobia. The cobia craze is still going strong here in the Northeast region. The fish still haven't shown up in huge numbers along the beach, but there's some nice ones being caught up in manta rays and on the pogie pods right now from Mayport all the way down to Matanzas Inlet. The weather and the wind has made it a little tough to get out and sight fish along the beach lately, but this weekend it looks like it might have a window. We're going to have some decent sunshine and some smaller waves, so if you get a chance, I would definitely give it a look. The cobia are eating a variety of jigs and plastics, whiter chartreuse, and also a live mullet or live pogie rigged on a 6-aught BMC circle hook is going to work really well. I also spoke with Captain Robert Johnson from Jody Litton Charters, and he tells me the bottom fishing in about 130 to 150 feet is really good right now with a good bite of mangrove and mutton snappers, as well as porgies, amberjack, and a bunch of throwback red snapper. Now, the Gulf Stream bite has slowed down just a little bit over the past week, probably due to a lot of the west winds we've had scattering the weeds around a bit, but the dolphin are still chewing from the temperature break on out. There are also some decent wahoo around as well, with most of those fish coming off islanders and rig ballyhoo. I've got one more picture here. This is Bailey SoCal with a nice dolphin she caught, trolling in about 500 feet of water on an islander lure in pink and white. And you know, guys, Strike Zone always has a great selection of those islanders, so get up there and check those out.
Hey, way to get us started there, Tommy, from the Strike Zone Northeast region. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the inshore hotspots. Redfish and flounder stacking up in the creek holes on the afternoon low tide throughout the entire region using a 1/4 ounce jig head and live shrimp or mullet. And then offshore, mangrove snappers, mutton snappers, porgies, amberjacks at all the wrecks and reefs in about 130 to 150 feet of water. Also look for those dolphin bite and pick back up and the temperature breaks once the weather settles, Brie.
Oh, that weather. Such
Oh,
rainy weather.
I got some weather in my
I know
throat.
you sound like it. Okay, now let's welcome Captain Jeff Page, who's ready to tell the ladies how to get involved on the water in the Central West region. Hi, Jeff.
You know I do, but real quick, I heard Tommy mention something about a pogie pod, and it flashed me back to Louisiana, didn't it, Rick?
Oh, we had the pogie pod going there, didn't we, Poppy?
I wish we had a pogie pod in the Starbright Central West region, but you know what, Rick, Brie? As you know, we have lots of opportunities for beginner ladies as well as advanced lady anglers. First off, we have all kinds of seminars at a variety of locations, from the north part of the region at Tampa Fishing Outfitters, down to Sarasota, CB's and Economy Tackle, and then down to the south part, Lasley Marine. And all those locations and others offer sometime throughout the year lady seminars. It could be ladies teaching ladies, it could be men teaching ladies, but they have exclusive lady seminars. And then we also have a bunch of different ladies division tournaments. Some of them include the CCA All-Release, Tampa and Sarasota, as well as Jerry Cleffy's Flats Masters. He has an all-ladies tournament, and then he has a sweetheart tournament where ladies get to fish with their husbands or significant others. And then, we also have a few female guides that are really good in our region here that work real good with ladies fly fishing as well as plug fishing and bait fishing. Speaking of the CCA All-Release, I got to brag a little about this photo of mine because it's my very own Lady Di with her 31.5-inch redfish, which won the ladies division Saturday for the second year in a row, Rick.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Lady Di, looking good there. Tell me about what else is happening inshore, Jeffrey.
Snook bite is still going strong with lots of reports coming in from the entire region down to the south. Bull Bay, Turtle Bay, and the West Wall have been producing good upper slot fish on the morning incoming tide, as well as the oyster bars and mangroves in Terracea and Palmasola Bay. Live free-line pilchards are the bait of choice, and the Saltwater Assassin 5-inch Houdini jerkbait rigged on a 1/4 ounce silver hookup jig head have been producing as well. I got another ladies picture tonight sent to me from Captain Jared Simonetti of Tampa with a nice snook Miss Allison caught near Weeden Island.
All right, Jeffrey, before we go any further, I want to talk to everybody about the Navionics sonar chart recordings that I did when I was there pre-fishing a few weeks ago, guys. I I want to show you some of the stuff that we've been able to load up using freshest data that Navionics provides. Now, we're talking about the long bar area, and as you can tell, with the new sonar recordings, you can see a lot more contours and a lot more areas where it raises up. Now, looking at my Hummingbird, it allows me to help understand what's really going on. Here's what happened before we did those recordings. If you look at the second area right where that is, look at how this whole area here has changed. More importantly, now it allows me to alter the way I fish as the tide either comes in or drops out. That's one of the things that makes the Navionics sonar chart recording so much better than a lot of the other things that we have to offer. All right, Brie, what else do we got going on offshore? Tell me what you got, Jeffrey.
Okay, species 1 offshore, amberjacks. Lots of amberjack reports coming in, once again, in the entire region. Guys are getting them on the wrecks and ledges in 65 to 100 feet of water, live blue runners as well as big live pinfish. And then if you want to throw the jigs, that pink Williamson Vortex jig has been deadly. The AJs are averaging 25 to 40 pounds. Species 2, he's an overlooked species, but I remember when we did a show with Chris Seeger, that scamp grouper. As you know, Rick, in my opinion, he's probably the tastiest of all the groupers, and he's legal to keep year-round as long as he measures 16 inches in the Gulf. With the gags being closed, you can keep 4 scamps, and like I said, they're open year-round, and the guys and gals are catching them off the same hard bottom and ledges that they're getting the gags off of, which they got to turn back. So 65 to 95 feet of water, live pinfish, cut sardines are working just as good. And like I said, he's a delicious table fare, that scamp grouper. Real quick, don't forget, it's almost May. Get signed up for the CCA Star Tournament and get you a Chevy truck.
All right, great report from the StarTron Central West region. Jeffrey, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Central West region. Inshore, speckled trout, nice size keeper trout, hitting saltwater assassins in the Violet Moon sea shads in a 1/4 ounce jig head on the grass flats in Tierra Bay. And then offshore, blackfin tuna. Bite remains strong in 65 to 75 feet of water around the Spanish sardines and bait schools. Now, guys, I want to welcome Lisa Fitzgerald, the director of the CCA Star Tournament for Florida. Lisa, tell us, we've been talking about Star now for 5 weeks, but more importantly, it's getting ready to start up here at the end of the month. So tell us really what we need to know.
Well, Star is a really unique tournament. It's 108 days of fishing. As you said, it starts May 23rd through September the 7th. We offer all types of fishing, but what is most important, Rick, is that this is an opportunity for the general public to learn what CCA does, which is preservation and conservation of our resources, and we're an advocacy voice for recreational anglers.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the tournaments. Not only is it just redfish, but tell me about the different species and categories that we have to fish.
That's right. We're a catch photo tournament. We have a special app where you'll be able to use our official measuring device. Our species are snook, speckled trout, cobia, and sheepshead. We have a youth division, which is all of those species, as well as ladyfish and Jack Crevalle. But there are divisions: the open division, the ladies division, the fly division. There's a kayaks division, a guides division, and then a youth division, which is offering $100,000 in scholarship. All of those divisions, nearly $500,000 in prizes.
That's great. Now, obviously, the key to the tournament is the awards that you have. If you catch one of these beautiful tagged redfish, like the video that we were just showing, tell us how that's going to all work.
Yes, there are 80 tagged redfish released from the Pensacola area all the way down to the Florida Everglades to the southernmost boundary. That tagged redfish, if you catch one of the first 6 tagged redfish, the first one is a new pickup truck. The next one is a Hells Bay Waterman. The next one is a Pathfinder TRS. And the following is a Contender 22 Sport. Then we have boats number 4 and 5 that we're also going to be giving away.
All powered by Yamaha.
All powered by Yamaha. That's exactly right.
Well, the thing that I'm so excited about is that the potential person that can be out, whether they're in a kayak, whether in a bay boat, whether they're in a technical poling skiff, or even any kind of boat, or standing on the shore, they could potentially win something. What happens if you're not registered?
Listen, Texas and Louisiana have had it happen to them. They had 11 tagged redfish caught. There were only 4 winners. You're going to be kicking yourself in the fanny all the way from the boat ramp home to tell your wife or husband.
Quickly, tell
Yes.
me how to get registered.
www.ccafloridaflstar.com, CCAFLSTAR.com. Get yourself registered. You can't participate unless you're a member of CCA. It's $60. We're looking forward to having everybody register.
Thank you for being here. Brie, speaking of being here, I know that you're here with all the pretty ladies.
I'm here, guys. Okay, don't troll off because when we return, Ali and I are going off the deep end with Rick and then jumping on over to the Southeast region. We'll be right back.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, find new roads. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Hummingbird, simply, clearly, better. Decks and Docks Lumber Company, Florida's dock and seawall supplier. And King Sailfish Mounts, www.kingsailfish.com.
Which car company is the first and only to offer built-in 4G LTE Wi-Fi in cars, trucks, and crossovers? Ranking from top to bottom.
I'm going to say Mercedes is the innovator.
BMW just because they're pricey.
The final answer? Chevy.
This model has the Wi-Fi in it?
Yep.
That's the dream, to have Wi-Fi in the car.
Get cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select 2015 models. That's over $3,100 on the Chevy Cruze. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Yamaha's next-generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome. Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I mean, I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole other game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the Game Changer.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
It's time to go over the news and notes from the FWC. May 16th, there's a kids fishing clinic in Fernandina Beach. May 8th, 16th, and 17th is lionfish removal and awareness days throughout the state. But for more information, visit myfwc.com. And now it's time to go off the deep end.
Well, every week we come over here to the CCA Workbench where Hummingbird, we're going to go off the deep end. Man, I know there's a lot of dudes out there wishing they could go off the deep end with YouTube.
Well, you know.
But I'm just saying. But anyway, Ali, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Listen, sometimes going fishing with your boyfriend, your husband, whatever, it can be a little intimidating because there's a lot of terms and technical stuff that we use and say.
Very true. Yes.
Tell us some of the things that we should
My expertise is
avoid.
offshore fishing, so there's a lot of crazy terms you just don't hear every day out there. Dropping back, lever drive, clickers, all that stuff, free lining. So there's definitely, when you're trolling fishing, for sailfish, pelagic, stuff like that, you usually use a conventional reel, and this one here is
This is the Makaira, Okuma Makaira. Obviously, it's for sail fishing. It has the clicker drag like you talked about. It has a lever drag that you talked about.
Correct.
Now, Brie, what she's really referring to is sailfish comes up, knocks it out of the clip. Then what do we do, Ali?
Then you want to drop it back, because what happens is the sailfish is actually going to be trying to kill the bait with their bill, and as you're dropping it back, it kind of simulates a dead bait in the water. They come up, chew on it, and as you're dropping it back, it's giving them slack. You don't want to have any tension on that line, because they will feel it and spit it out immediately, and your fish is gone.
So we're going to go essentially straight to re-spool, and we're going to keep our thumb on to keep it from backlashing. That's the key. The fish is going to be taking the line. Then when it's time to set the hook, according to whenever your captain or the expert on the boat, you're just simply going to push this up to the strike button.
And we're going to listen to our captain on the boat, right?
And that's why you guys, really, technically, I think most women are better fishermen.
Don't do it for us, because we want to do it ourselves.
That's good. That's a good advice.
Yes.
Now, what about inshore, Ali?
Now, inshore or even offshore, a lot of times you'll get a school of dolphin behind the boat, and you have, grab a spinning reel and basically go from there. One thing that we usually do with this is chunk the water with a bunch of, cut up ballyhoo, toss that out, and then you also want to toss out a piece that's on a hook as well, because you're simulating that chum line.
Right.
So what you do is you actually stick your finger on the line there, flip the bail out. You're going to kind of cast it out behind the boat or into all those chunks of bait, and you're going to actually do what's called free lining, and this is allowing the bait to kind of float in the water, and Rick's going to actually simulate what happens when the fish bites the hook. They're going to kind of run with it.
See how the line's running off your reel?
Line's kind of running. You let it do that for a few minutes, and then you're going to want to flip your bail. And then if you have a circle hook on, you're going to want to start reeling like crazy. Yep. Or if you don't have a circle hook on, you just kind of set it and reel and go from there. And usually, majority of the time, you're catching that fish.
Catch a Rick fish.
Some of the best fish to catch.
Yes, I agree.
Man, how do I follow that?
Everyone wants a Rick fish.
Everybody wants a Rick fish.
Oh, that you girls are. All right, I'll pay you after the show for all that nice stuff. Ali, speaking of that, some of your favorite fish catches that you can think of. You're a very accomplished angler. Tell me what you really can think of that comes to mind. What are some of the best memorable fishing moments?
My most memorable moment was actually a big dolphin, my biggest dolphin today. I think it was about 42 pounds. We were fishing off Isle Mirada. We actually had the fish come up and hit one of our trolling baits, and the line kind of popped, and he wasn't on there yet. So I ran back, hit the lever drag, dropped the bait back like we talked about, and let him kind of eat it for a second. He came back up, hit it, and game on. He was on the hook at that point, and biggest fish to date. Like I said, it was great fight. Yeah. So learning what you do. I mean, it can be intimidating out there, but at the same time, take it easy, relax, and just listen to the people around you, and you'll pick it up. You'll pick it up pretty quick.
Yeah. Don't be intimidated. That's
Never.
the biggest thing.
Never.
Sometimes the captains will want to do it for you. But you just have to really just be strong. Say, no, teach me. I want to learn.
Yeah,
and you'll never learn unless you do it.
There is so much to learn, but
right, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, how come you look at me when you say that?
Oh, I don't know, because you're just the best captain around, and I was just using you as an example for the other guy.
I just want you to know, for a second there, I wasn't feeling quite the love.
All right, well, we still love you, don't worry. Well, you guys, thank you so much. And Ali, it was great having you by our side today. But now we are going to go to the Southeast region with Captain Jimbo Thomas. Hi, Jimbo.
Hey, how we doing, Brie? How we doing, ladies and Rick?
Pretty good.
How are you, Jimbo? Hey.
I'm still a little soggy after the fishing the last couple days. But, we've have plenty of lady anglers aboard the Thomas Flyer over the years. We don't really do anything different with the ladies on board. And generally, the ladies are better anglers than most of the men because they're a little more patient and more willing to listen to our coaching. The one thing I have noticed is that Rick is much quicker to help the ladies out with the fighting belt than he is with some fat old guys, though. So who knows? And in the Southeast region, we got Betty Bauman's Ladies Let's Go Fishing program. That's done a lot to promote the sport amongst the female anglers. And there's also numerous fishing clubs. Pretty much every fishing tournament does have a ladies division. I do have a photo here. This is a photo of Debbie Morrell with her husband Rick Morrell, and Debbie was the top female angler in last week's Yamaha Contender Miami Sport Fish Tournament, and that's a nice blackfin tuna she caught aboard their beautiful Contender called the Barbell. So, ladies, let's go fishing. Now, also inshore, there's been a lot of big tarpon caught in the Southeast region. The fish are being caught in the evenings in the mouths of the inlets and also around the bridge shadow lines. And around the bridges, look for where the bait is coming through. A lot of times you can hear those tarpon popping on the baits on the surface, or if there's a rip, weed line, or color change, that's where the bait's going to be lined up. That's going to be the feeding zone for those tarpon. Get anchored up current and drift your live crabs or shrimp back into those shadow lines. And then in the inlet, fish your live crab and shrimp through the mouths and also around the beaches adjacent to those inlets. In the inlets, the tide hasn't been much of a factor, just so long as that water is moving. And around the bridges, they've been biting best on the outgoing tide. Captain Dave Costio aboard Not Nancy, he's been fishing Government Cut and the bridges between Rickenbacker and Hulliver Inlet. He's been getting 4 to 8 tarpon bites per night, and these tarpon have been in the 40 to the 150-pound range. He also says, don't waste your time trying to catch these tarpon when the sun is up. And as soon as that sun goes down, it's like you flip a switch and then they turn on. That's when they start biting. Now, moving offshore, if anybody ever wanted to catch a sailfish and get it off their bucket list, now is the time to do it. In the last week, the sailfish bite has been spectacular, which really is not uncommon for the springtime. And as long as there's good north current and blue water, they should continue to bite. Now, that blue water and that north current does change every day. If you get out there, you don't have some current, you might want to check with some of your fishing buddies north or south, find out if they have current there. But it's been fluctuating. But as long as that current's moving, the fish are going to bite. Although we do have a full moon this weekend, the bite could slow down a little bit, but I suspect they will keep on biting. Now, most of the bites are coming on live herring and goggle eyes fished under the kite in 100 to 180 feet of water, and there's been a lot of multiple hookups. So if you get a fish on, try to leave the rest of your baits out. There's a good chance that you'll get another bite or even multiple bites. And aboard the Thomas Flyer, we've had a number of double and triple headers in the last week. And it's also a great idea to put down a deep line in case you drift over a hungry grouper's head, because that grouper season's opening on Friday, May 1st. Also offshore, the springtime run of blackfin tunas is shaping up. Bite's been improving daily leading up to this Saturday's full moon. They usually get pretty good a few days before and a few days after the moon. All the tuna bites have been on live baits fished under the kite or on the flat lines. Most of them are on our baits that are intended for sailfish. Now, on a few of our outfits, our sailfish outfits, we've scaled down to 40-pound fluorocarbon leaders down from 60-pound monofilament, and it seems to have gotten us a few more bites. If you can get the baits in the water first thing in the morning or fish late into the afternoon just before dark, that's when these tunas are going to be the most active. And also, if you can find enough bait to live chum with, that'll really get these tunas, along with the sails, fired up. And we've had tunas up to 33 pounds this week.
All right, congratulations, Jimbo, to you guys on the Thomas Flyer for your performance in the Miami Sport Fish Tournament. I'm going to go ahead and get to the First National Bank of South Florida hotspots. Inshore, work the ICW bridge shadow lines on the outgoing tide with crabs and shrimp for big tarpon. And then offshore, gather as much live bait as you can and fish the edge in 100 to 200 feet late in the day for a mixed bag of blackfin tunas, sailfish, and kingfish.
Probably liking all the ladies in the house, right?
I'm liking it.
I know you are.
I
You're
think
so
we should
relaxed
do this
and-
every week.
Yes, of course.
What you think?
I think so too.
Okay.
Coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're talking with a special guest from Hummingbird and then seeing what the ladies are catching in the Southwest and Central East regions. Look at all them girlies.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Drummond Community Bank. Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Casa Vieja Lodge, Guatemala.
What does high-strength, roll-formed steel look like? Like this. Chevy Silverado. High-strength steel for high-strength dependability. Get $6,500 total value on this Silverado. Plus, Chevy owners get an additional $2,500. Plus 1 year of Sirius XM with every MLB game. See your local Chevy dealer today.
Fish Stock, the total saltwater experience, returns to New Smyrna Beach this Memorial Day weekend. Bring the whole gang to Riverside Park for an incredible family experience. Tournaments, boat shows, seminars, kids clinics, and the Fish Stock 5K Fun Run. Put your skills to the test in the Redfish Trout Challenge. And new this year, Boston Whaler and Marine Max offer $2,500 cash for the largest fish caught each day in the Offshore Striker Tournament. Don't miss out on the fun. Visit fishstock.com to register.
Well, welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. We talked about the Hummingbird Workbench earlier, and guess what? From Hummingbird, Jeff Kolozinski's here. And Jeff, tell me a little bit about the new Onyx series.
This is the new Onyx series. It's so big and so powerful, we had to build it from scratch. We started the software, Rick, from the beginning to get everything we wanted to into it. We're looking at a down imaging screen there, and watch as I do this. I'm going to touch the screen with 2 fingers there. It's a multi-touch touch screen. So what we did differently is it's a touch screen, but it's also buttons. If you're going down the intercoastal waterway, if you're offshore and you're getting bounced around and you need to anchor your hand, you can do every command on the buttons that you can on the touch screen, and still sometimes you can be nimble and fast with the touch. Now, with the Onyx, we have side imaging. You can see all of the bait fish. You can see schools there. We have a digital sonar. It's network capable, so you can run radar and chirp sonar and other things, but I know how much you like side imaging. And so let's look at that. Look at the bait fish schools. When you're offshore, you can find bait fish, and I know how much you like this one. See if you can tell me who this one is. Might have to dig.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's the man right there. That is a tarpon. Look at that. Anytime that
you can even zoom in like that?
Yeah, I just did that. It's a multi-touch display, zoomed in.
You can tell by the V in his tail that that's him. That's what we saw when I won the championship in 2012, the Gold Cup. It was raining like it is outside, and guess what? We sat for a day, and we sat there with side image, and I would tell the guy 60 feet, 80 feet, 9 o'clock. That's what we were seeing.
Incredibly clear sonar pictures. That screenshot looks exactly like that behemoth over my shoulder right there. One more thing. I know how much you love your $8.99 and $9.99 units. Well, when he built this, they didn't talk to each other, but next week, we're going to release a free software update that you can download on your Onyx units and your Core units. It will allow them to communicate. You can share waypoints and routes. I see you in your happy place. I see you smiling. This is a good day. Next week, download that software. You'll get incredible performance in sonar and network it to your Ethernet units.
Colo and Hummingbird, I love you guys, man. You make my job so easy.
Right on.
Speaking of making my job easy, Brie does every week too, so take it away, Brie.
Yes, Colo, thank you for putting him in his happy place. And now in the Southwest region is Captain Ronnie Houston. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Well, Brie, like I know tonight's a very special night. It's ladies' night, and I'm just curious. You got 2-for-1s going on over there?
Heck yeah, we do.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to try to do. Mr. Midnight Rider is going to make it 4-for-1, and we're going to spotlight 4 popular ladies and lovely ladies on the southwest coast of Florida. But let's start off with a little bit of ladies fishing. You know, when it comes to the ladies that are involved with fishing, some of the best attributes they have, whether they're experienced or just beginning, is they have very good patience and they will listen. Now, from my perspective, it makes my job a lot easier, and ladies catch on very quickly. I've also noticed that when I fish typically a husband and wife, that the lady usually ends up out fishing her husband, not because she's better, but she listens and takes some advice. The most popular way to get started would be get involved in number 1 all through the state of Florida, Get involved with Ladies Let's Go Fishing. Depending upon what area you're in, they'll direct you in the right place. There's groups like the Marco Island Fishing Club, Naples Fishing Club that have events for ladies and group meetings for ladies. But then also you have tournaments like the Gene Doll, the Red Snook, the Flashmaster Series that also have divisions and incorporate ladies into what they do. And I have a very special picture tonight of a lady by the name of Carolyn Higley with a beautiful trout. She was fishing with one of the captains that generally give me reports on the show, Matt Haig from the northern end of the region, and there's a beautiful trout. But on the inshore side, let's start off with the snooks, being that we're just getting closed with them. Captain Josh Greer of Double X Outdoors tells me in the Panhandle area, he's been working a pattern by focusing on moving water and fishing the deeper holes around most independent islands, as well as deeper cuts and points on the east side of Charlotte Harbor. Again, it's nothing special about this. He's fishing moving water, and that's been the key. And also what he tells me is if you can get the direction of the current and the wind blowing in the same direction, the current's going to move a lot quicker, which is very special up in that area, what makes it even better. When you really don't have any tide moving up in the northern end of the region, there'll be plenty of fish, but the fish will be hard to bite. Key baits have been heavily chummed live pilchards, or he's been telling me the Rapala skitterwalks in white and the Sebile stick shads in white or bone chartreuse. He's telling me the average size snook is 19 to 26 inches with fish up to 40 inches. And I've got two more pictures of some lovely ladies, Tom and Karen Souls of Punta Gorda, who was fishing with Captain Josh Greer with a nice snook they caught. And then also on the southern end of the region, two special little girls, Carly and Kendra Pruitt, fishing with their father, Troy Pruitt, pretty well known in the tournament series on the southwest coast with a 36-inch snook.
All right,
girls.
Good job. Way to go, girls. All right, let's go offshore, Ronnie.
You know what? We've had some inclement weather here in the last couple days, heavy rains and heavy winds, but that's letting up. The weekend should be great. Before this happened, and should be into the weekend as the weather subsides, kingfish. Concentrate from Sanibel to Stump Pass. Concentrate in depths right now at 30 to 60 feet, concentrating on hard bottom and wrecks by either trolling planers with spoons or trolling large lip plugs in black and purple, also blue and black. But also work areas with heavy bait concentrations, and don't even think about going by the large Spanish mackerel schools. That's where guys catch some of their biggest kingfish by just strictly dropping down live threadfins and blue runners below the schools, picking up scattered fish traveling with these migrating mackerel. Typical size of the fish right now in the kingfish size are anywhere from 9 to 20 pounds. Now also, I've been talking about the last couple weeks, and it's the time of year the permits. Continue to get reports greater and actually getting better, actually all through the region. Now what you want to do is concentrate on most noted structure and up to a quarter mile away from the structure in a 360-degree radius around the structure. And with that new Onyx, that might help. If you're describing tarpon on that, it won't take long for a guy to figure out, looking out from the 360 degrees from the mark, big schools of permits, and some guys might want to start giving that a shot. Now, groups of fish are schooled up, and some fish are scattered on some of these areas, depending upon where you go. The run and gun bite, reports have been better away from the structure, guys, back to 8 to 30 miles out has been the range, but from Sanibel to Stump Pass, fish are being caught as close as 6 miles. Typical baits is probably one of the most favorites, the live crabs, also bucktails, tip with shrimp. Average size of the fish, 15 to 30 pounds right now in the region.
All right, great report from the Southwest region. Ronnie, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hotspots from the Southwest region. Inshore, redfish, early morning incoming, Panther Key to Galt Island using topwater plugs, live pilchards, gold or silver spoons. And then offshore, mangrove snappers and cobias, Naples to Fort Myers Beach, 8 to 15 miles out on most noted structure. We're going to chum heavily, Brie.
Sounds good to me, Rick. Let's go on up to the Central East region with Jim Ross, who has lots of girl power on the water up there, right, Jim?
Oh, we sure do, Brie. Ladies are making waves in my region this week, I'm telling you. It doesn't matter if it's big speckled trout or redfish over on our lagoons, or, we've got tarpon, sharks, king mackerel, and all kinds of stuff out in the ocean. The female anglers in the Central East region know how to fish, and they've got it going on. And the thing about it is, and Rick, you can back me up on this, they always have a way of catching the biggest or the most fish on the boat. It doesn't matter. They can just go, I'm just going to go along for the ride, and they always catch the big fish. So it's kind of interesting when you take a lady out. Here's an example of that. I've got a photo of Shay Saldana with a giant fish for 125 feet of water. This fish hit a ballyhoo out of a little southeast of the inlet, and she was fishing with her father, Ricardo. That's a pretty doggone good fish for 125 feet. We normally find those bigger wahoo out in, 240, 250 feet. So, but it just goes to show you, ladies can pull them out of anywhere.
You're right.
And then our other species offshore is snapper, and it's been really good this week. From top to bottom of the region, from the top of the region at Ponce to the bottom of the region at Sebastian, if you're fishing in 60 to 140 foot depth, the snapper bite's been really good. Now, most of the guys are telling me that they're using heavy chum slicks, and if you want to get those bigger snapper, you want to use a large hold chum bag so that you get good flow going. And then use really small leaders and hooks to hide the little chunks of squid or little chunks of bait fish that you're using as you're floating them back in there. Now, the mangrove snapper are obviously the biggest and toughest of the bunch that we have right now, with the exception of those reds. But lane snapper, vermilion snapper, and yellowtail snapper are also coming up in the chum slicks on those bottom structures right now. Like I said about those reds, you're going to have to kind of work your way through some of them sometimes. But you can get some other fish that are legal size and take them home and put those reds back to survive so that we can get that population rebuilt. Now, inshore, the tarpon bite is pretty good as well. Mostly along the surf zone or within the first quarter mile of the coastline, all through the region right now. Live pogies are best, and you want to put them on a VMC 7385 circle hook. You want to stick that sideways through their nose and drift or slow troll around those bait pods. But you can also get them on large plugs or swim baits, especially for the guys that are fishing at Sebastian Inlet on those outgoing tides. Now, if you don't want to do either of those type of fishing, but you still want to catch tarpon, we've got options for you. You can catch the juvenile tarpon between 2 and 20 pounds, and sometimes these fish are pushing up into the 50-pound range around those little tributaries and creeks and the little rivers that flow into the Indian River and Banana River Lagoon system. Now, the best thing for these juvenile fish is a small finger mullet or pilchard, or if you like to throw a fly rod, this is a perfect time to get some small tarpon on fly right now. Look for the fish rolling and busting around the mangroves, and you throw the fly up in there, and it looks like a little glass minnow, and they normally pretty much eat it anytime you get it in front of them. Now, our last species this week, Rick, the black drum. And we are no stranger to drum in this area. The black drum is not as well known as the red drum, but the Mosquito Lagoon and the Indian Rivers, especially the no motor zone portion of the Banana River, is doing pretty good lately. You know what? There's not a lot of big ones around like there were, but what they lack in size, they make up for in pulling power, especially if you get them on the fly rod. And those little flat fish eat a small black Clouser-style fly pretty darn easily. Now, we still have some bigger ones around, though. Crabs and shrimp are doing best for them, and you want to use chunks of mullet, pogie, or ladyfish if you can't get the crabs or the shrimp. Best to fish around the jetties, especially the Pineda Causeway, or any of the inlet bridges seem to be working pretty good right now. Some of those fish are running 15 to 30 pounds, but here I've got a picture of Captain Ron Hatcher sent in to me of Matt Latham from Georgia, and this is a big old black drum, 52 inches long, that he got at the jetty up there at Ponce Inlet.
Man, that's a stud. Great report, Jim. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hookup lures hotspots from the Central East region. Captain Jim says that this weekend you should go speckled trout fishing inshore near Spoil Islands between Wasabo and Port Malabar. Use Houdini-colored assassin sea sads and a quarter-ounce hookup jig head. And then offshore, a variety of snapper species on the structure in 70 to 120 feet out. And look for them off of Ponce Inlet. Chum heavily while freelining gut squid.
Wabasso.
That's kind of like Tabasco.
Kinda. All right, well, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. You're always funny. Fish Talk is coming up, which is happening Memorial Day weekend, May 22nd through the 24th at Riverside Park in New Smyrna Beach, featuring 2 fishing tournaments inshore and offshore, boat show, seminars, kids activities, food, and fun for the whole family. For more information, visit fishtalk.com. But Rick, coming up next, get ready, because Ali and I are going to show you some new products just in time for Mother's Day.
Goody. I can't wait.
And then we're going to drift on over to the East region right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. Navionics, we start where the road ends. Maverick Boat Company, celebrating 30 years of leadership in innovation, conservation, and stability. And First National Bank, your first choice for better banking.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Hey, you remember when we were hanging out last night? You know, me, you, Gail.
That's my girl.
You guys are awesome. And then you went to bed.
I was tired.
You were super tired. And then it was just me and Gail.
Mm-hmm.
Alone.
What?
Yeah!
It's all in the paws. New Shadow Wrap from Rapala.
Welcome back, guys. Ali, I'm so happy you're here and we get to do this together. We have
all the girly stuff.
All the girl stuff.
I know,
This is absolutely
right?
wonderful.
It is.
High five.
High five.
All right, guys, we are. We have a lot to talk about today because not only do we have a ton of products for the ladies, but Mother's Day is coming up and we have some gift ideas,
We
right?
do. Absolutely. Guys, pay attention.
Guys, pay attention. Children, pay attention. First up, we have Guy Harvey by AFTCO. He has come out with amazing new t-shirts with great detail on them. This actually has sparkles in it, which is kind of nice.
I love it. Anything sparkly.
I know, he's incorporated a lot of Florida actually into the t-shirts. The state of Florida, you have sailfish, you have alligators, you have parrots,
the frigate bird.
flamingos. It's just, I mean, this is beautiful.
My
And
favorite,
Guy Harvey's always coming through.
The frigate bird, right?
The frigate bird.
Gotta have a frigate.
Gotta have a frigate. And then we also have these awesome performance shirts, which I have about 5 of in every color because, you know, when you're on the water and maybe you're fishing in a bathing suit and you don't want to get any more sun, you can throw this on. It's very lightweight.
And they dry quickly as well.
They dry very fast. And also another thing you can wear over your suit are these, thank you, are these awesome performance t-shirts. And they are dry fit, so they dry very quickly and lightweight, and they're great. And moving on to Guy Harvey by Artisan, they have come out with
This is a beautiful new line.
fashion, right? I mean,
yes.
yeah, we love to be out there and fish with the guys, but we still want to look good, right?
And let people know that you fish at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is their new performance shirt. And it has a vent in the back, which is great.
Keeps it cool.
And there's lots of new designs. I have about 3 of these so far. I'm sure I'll be acquiring more as the time goes on. And then we have this jacket, which I'm actually wearing, the blue version. They're windbreakers, essentially, but they're very stylish. You can cinch them in here at the waist, and there's a hood, keep you warm on the water, right? simply beautiful. And then we have these shorts, which are very fun. Bermuda.
Perfect.
They have a lot of designs, white, checkered, similar to this. And let's see what else we have. We have so much to get through. And then we have these performance shirts, which are awesome because they have a utility pocket.
You gotta have that, yeah.
You gotta have pockets
You wanna
because,
hold all your stuff.
you know, when you're in a bathing suit, there's nowhere to put stuff.
Nowhere.
And you need stuff like, you know, what you're gonna show us a little bit later with those knives.
Of course.
And we've also got these beautiful scarves. You can wear them on your head or around your neck or
Dress
almost like
up
a
an
buff,
outfit.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Costa came out with a new Lamars with the wood frame
I
here.
love that wood frame.
They always kill it with their sunglasses.
They really do.
These would be a great
My
gift
favorite,
for mom,
obviously.
right?
Yes.
And we've got their new hats, their visors, which are pink, and t-shirts that they've come out with too.
Have those. Yep. Can
Right?
never have too many t-shirts.
I love these. But moving on to your side of the table, what do you have?
Oceanic Gear. It's a new company that's coming out, and my favorite product from them is their new bathing suit line. It's actually, they're very comfortable, they're very colorful, and the best part about them is they have fish on them. So you kind of pick your
Love it.
favorite sport fish and go from there. They have tarpon, mahi-mahi, all kinds of stuff, and of course my favorite is the dolphin, the mahi-mahi.
The dolphin. Yep.
They also have these new performance cover-ups here that have air holes in them, so your glasses don't fog up.
Breathe.
And exactly. And my favorite thing right now also is the Evolution bait knife. You got to have a good bait knife. I've had this for like 2 seasons now, and essentially they're coming out with some new colors here.
I have that pink one,
for the girls.
actually.
I know, right? I think every girl should have one of these
They
pink ones.
should. Why not?
Yeah. And then they have the new designs here, and they also make them for the guys, so can't leave them out.
Can't leave them out either. And we didn't mention this.
No, this
What
is a new headband also by Oceanic. It keeps the hair out of your face, also
hair.
kind of covers your forehead for the sun. Yeah, they're perfect. So
And it
check them
covers
out.
your ears,
Your ears
too,
as well,
right?
yep.
Because your
Keeps
ears
those
start to
burnt.
hurt.
Yep.
And you know, like Rick, he's kind of, can't hear really well because of all the wind.
No.
So.
Yep. So check all those new products out, oceanicgear.com, and then the Evolution bait knives.
And the bathing suits, of
and
course.
the bathing suits, of course, yes.
All right, Ali, well, thank you so
Yes,
much for being
thank
here.
you.
And we are
Appreciate
going to move on to Mike Holiday, who thinks ladies smell nice. That's right, Mike, right? They smell nice and fish. Go figure.
They do, and it's squishy. So female anglers have always had a big part of the fishing scene in my region. Tournament-wise, we have the Fishing Frenzy Tournament next weekend in Fort Pierce and the Blue Water Open in Fort Pierce at the end of May. Both have ladies divisions, as does the TCBA tournament out of Stewart on Memorial Day weekend, and the Stewart Sailfish Club. They host a Saltwater Sisters Lady Tournament every October to benefit breast cancer research. Now in Palm Beach County, don't forget the Pompano Beach Fishing Rodeo. That has a lady division. And there's the King and Queen of the KDW Classic. And then last but not least, every October, the Blue Water Babes fish for a Cure tournament out of Palm Beach County. On May 29th and 31st, the Stewart Corinthian Yacht Club in Stewart hosts a ladies' Let's Go Fishing seminar. That's that all-inclusive university of fishing that teaches hands-on techniques for inshore and offshore fishing, and then offers the opportunity to fish with a charter captain or a guide on the last day of the event. You can go to ladiesletsgofishing.com for more information about that. And for those ladies who want a more intensive fishing experience, we have 2 great female inshore fishing guides in my area, Marcia Fusner and Melinda Buckley. Both captains are excellent tutors of all forms of fishing. They'll teach you the skills required to consistently catch fish, as well as understand the true freedom of that fishing experience in my region.
All right, well, let's go inshore, bub.
Well, we're seeing a good push of snook towards the inlet. There's a lot of mostly smaller fish around Palm Beach Inlet near the crack in the wall, and then around Jupiter Inlet near the Coast Guard Station. And then we're seeing a lot of male fish around the South Jetty and St. Lucie Inlet, and around the South Jetty, and then around Beachside in Fort Pierce Inlet. We'll probably see the first of the larger spawning females. They'll come into the inlet the next month on the new moon. There's also been a good nighttime snook bite in Stewart on the 10-cent bridge and on North Bridge in Fort Pierce, and a great dawn bite on the Lake Worth Bridge in Lake Worth. Mullet are the main focus for snook right now, so topwater plugs are working at first light, and big mullet or swimming plugs are working at night. During the daytime, pinfish, pilchards, threadfins, and sandperch, those are going to be your top baits. And then soft plastics that mimic the small pilchards that are pushing in the river, like a copper juice colored bass assassin, 4-inch shad. That's going to be the way to go. Average snook's going to be 24 to 28 inches. with some real tanks being caught on the bridges at night right now on live mullet.
All right, what do we got offshore, Hollywood?
Well, excuse me, through last weekend and into the early portion of our week, the westerly winds have really spread out those weed lines and then really spread out the dolphin. We've got a shift to a more northerly direction to the winds going into the weekend, and that'll really help define and improve the dolphin bite. Northerly winds and really a northeasterly wind in particular really stack up the weeds, the rips in the edges, and push a lot of fish from the eastern side of the Gulf Stream over to our side and close to the shore. So conditions are great this weekend for some of those big dolphin that we see caught every April and every May. So don't just hit the blue water and put out lines. Look for good fishing conditions, either a weed line or other floating objects or a big rip or color change to work down. As always, watch for birds, particularly frigate birds. That's had a lot of big dolphin on it lately. Trolling ballyhoo is the way to go, either naked or with a blue and white or a green skirt. You want to do that to cover a lot of water. Have plenty of spinning rods ready for schoolies that may follow hook fish to the boat. Average dolphins under 10 pounds, but there are a lot of gaffer fish in the mix and some real big fish out there as well. I've got a photo. That's Elisa Prochek with a schoolie dolphin. She caught that on a light spinning rod. It followed a whole bunch of fish up to the boat. The other bite we've got going every April and May, the big kings call Palm Beach County home, and we're finally starting to see that first big push of king mackerel up the coast and into Palm Beach County. The best action is on southern Palm Beach County off Boynton Beach in 70 to 110 feet of water, but more fish are showing up in Jupiter where they really show up in later May every day now. The larger fish are off Boynton Inlet but working their way north. Slow troll, live goggle eyes, or blue runners, or Spanish sardines, or even a mullet or a bluefish. Put them out on a number 4 wire stinger rig with either a number 2 or a number 4 4X strong VMC treble hook. Make sure you use that 4X strong one or you'll be sorry, they'll straighten the hooks out on you. Be sure to make a lot of turns when you're trolling those baits. The strikes usually come when the boat's turning and the bait swings out of the wake. And if you get a short strike and the fish misses the hook, take the boat out of the gear, drop the bait back, and the fish will usually circle back around and eat the rest of the bait. Average king right now is 12 to 20 pounds, but there's some 50-pound fish coming out of Boynton right now.
All right, quickly on the bass report. You're running out of time, bub.
You bet. Westerly winds have pushed out dirty water and that blue-green algae to the eastern side of the Lake Okeechobee. So the western side of the lake, from the monkey box all the way up to Kings Bar, that's had a great early morning bite along the outside grass lines. Bass are holding tight, and they're feeding on bluegill. So topwater plugs, dye dappers, and elite shiners in that purple and chartreuse color. That's getting those big blowouts when it's worked across the grass with 50-pound braided lines. We're starting to see some schooling fish on the shad at first light. White spinner baits and swim baits are going to score big on those fish. And there's also been a good bite down in Clewiston in the Rim Canal for anglers fishing Texas rigged 10-inch Junebug-colored worms around the rocks along the shore. Live shiners have worked all day on Second Point off Kings Bar with the average fish. Average catch right now, 30 to 50 bass a day, 2 to 3 pound average. Okeechobee's the scene where the bass are mean. It's the place to be.
All right, great report from the Decks and Docks East region. Mike, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Captain Mike says inshore redfish on the west bank of the Indian River from Midway Road to the Old Fort. Copper juice, 4-inch sea shads, gold spoons, or live shrimp on an 1/8-ounce jig head is going to work for them. And then offshore cobias on the sand pile off of St. Lucie Inlet. Early bite, chum hard, get the baits down deep. Pilchards, thread fins, and whole squid are going to work for those cobias, Brie.
All right, y'all, don't go away because when we return on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, ladies edition, of course.
Of course.
We're heading on up to the Northwest and Panhandle regions. See you soon. Look at that car.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti Coolers. Built for the wild. CCA Florida. The voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Guy Harvey. Marine wildlife artist and conservationist. And Sea Sucker. Vacuum mounting systems.
Serious fishermen demand quality equipment on their boats and on shore. That's why Florida boaters have trusted Decks and Docks for over 20 years for dock lumber, hardware, and accessories. Tough products that stand up to the roughest environments, and elegance to please the most discerning homeowner tastes. Decks and Docks. supplying waterfront customers with lumber, decking, and seawall, with 10 locations across Florida.
Chevy, Colorado. When you find new roads, you win Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week, it's about the micro. Now guys, understand whether it's a kayak, a john boat, the cool part is that you can anchor now your boat from essentially anywhere. Now the micro really is a powerful little unit, and if you have a boat that's 17 foot long or shorter and it's up to 1,500 pounds, the micro is actually the perfect unit for you. Now it simply attaches to your battery, so it needs a little 12 volt power. You can use up to an 8.5 foot spike, so you can potentially anchor your boat in 8 feet of water. Now the cool part about the micro is you simply just engage it, turn it on, and now just push your button and it's preset and ready to go. Now once you've established that, it's real simple. It all comes with a remote and it'll actually anchor your boat exactly where and when you want to anchor it. And that's today's Power Pole tip of the week about the micro.
That was wonderful, Rick. But now for the ladies' man himself, Captain Jeff Hageman from Northwest Region, who always seems to have a lady on his boat, right, Jeff?
You guys saved me for this episode, really?
Oh boy,
With
come on.
more and more ladies getting involved in fishing, Brittany Domowski's put together Florida Sportswoman. It's a pretty cool organization. It's for ladies that fish. It offers free ladies seminars all around the state. They're workshops, hand curriculums. It's hands-on, knot tying, rigging, cast net, fishing tactics, conservation. She goes over all of it. It's a great seminar. I know you attended it, Rick, once before. I've attended it. It's a really good seminar. It's Florida Sportswoman. She also does inshore and offshore trips around the state with different captains in different areas. So it's a great way and a cheaper way for a bunch of women to get together that love to fish, and she puts them together and sets the whole trip up. I'm doing one in June. Actually, I'm doing a couple in June for tarpon, and she does them all over the state and throughout the whole state. So anybody listening to this can go to floridasportswoman.com and check that out. And I've got a photo teaching a bunch of new lady anglers how to rig ballyhoo.
All right, keep going, dude. I got other things I'm doing in here.
Captain Mario Costello out of Crystal River reports a good snook fishing along the oyster bars and sandbars from Yankeetown to Ozella. Been proven very consistent over the past few weeks. Seem to be on the bars where the schools of bait and mullet thread fins have been schooling up. You want to target them on the deeper sides with jigs, soft plastic like DOA cows on an 1/8 ounce head, working along the bottom. Bump it just right across the bottom. If the bait's on the surface, you might want to start with a dog walker by Unfair Lures, and that's a topwater plug. And that's been working effective first thing in the morning. I got a photo here of Captain Mario Costello with a great Homosassa snook.
Whoa, that's a big one there, Papa.
That's a good one up in Homosassa. You guys, he's a great captain. Look him up if you're in Homosassa, Crystal River area. He can put you on those big snook and redfish up there. Moving offshore, shark fishing's been really good everywhere. Anywhere deeper right now than 50 feet of water, there's black tips and spinners out there by the hundreds, and they're eating everything that's in sight. So if you want to have some fun and something's going to pull a lot of drag on medium tackle, get out there, and anything over 50 feet, all the artificial wrecks and reefs have them on them right now. Small piece of wire will help you from getting cut off. They're averaging anywhere from 3 to 4 feet, and they're really a lot of fun and a lot of fun to fight. Gag grouper. If you want to look for fish right now in that 45 to 75 feet of water over rock piles and ledges, I'm talking about most of my region right now. That's the area you want to target. Most of the fish right now are starting to move to deeper water because the water temperature is warming up. So if you're not finding fish, you might want to bump out a little bit, check your water temperature. Once you find that common water temperature, you want to keep on it. And drop some heavy gear down. There has been some big fish. And you want to use pinfish or pigfish on a standard bottom rigging with a 4 to 6 ounce piece of egg sinker, and that'll get you down to the bottom.
All right, Hag. I don't know what you're doing. Hope you're having fun doing whatever it is you're doing. That's a good, okay report from the Northwest Yeti region. I'll get to you on the phone in a little while. I got to go ahead and get to the Drummond Community Bank hotspots. Inshore, redfish on the top of the tide. Use cut pinfish or ladyfish for baits. And then offshore, sharks on every night relief structure in 50-plus feet of water. Cut or live baits on both have been effective.
Wow, Rick.
I don't know what
Is he
happened
rubbing
to
off
my
on you?
boy. He was stumbling and fumbling, and that's why I love him so much.
That's right. There's probably a lady on his boat.
Something.
Shoot. Well, this lady right here will be fishing with this captain, Pat Deneen, up in the Panhandle region in just a few weeks, which I'm very excited about. What do I have to look forward to, Pat?
Yeah, Bree's coming up, going fishing in the Panhandle.
Yay!
It's always nice to have a lady angler on board. In fact, two of my favorite lady anglers are my wife and daughter, so that's always cool. It seems like the women on a boat consistently catch the largest fish or the most fish. And if you're a competitive lady angler, the Panhandle has something to offer for you. Nearly every tournament has at least a ladies division, and there's several tournaments geared specifically for ladies. In June, there's an offshore tournament out of Orange Beach, Alabama, which is just right across the border, geared towards ladies. And also the Pensacola Lady Anglers Offshore Tournament is hosted out of Pensacola in July. So there's ample opportunities for women to get out there and competitively fish. And there's a photo there of a young lady from Georgia with a very nice trout she caught using a live bait under a popping cork fishing with Captain Troy Forbes. So there's a nice lady fisherman out there.
Oh, she's cute.
All right, let's stay inshore. Pat, what you got?
Hey, Rick, the speckled trout fishing has picked up in a huge way in the Panhandle this past week. Captain Brent Romiti over at Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe, he reports exceptional trout fishing in the head of the bay and around Black's Island and Pig's Island. He says the LYs or the greenies have moved in a big way. So just get your cast net, rope up a bunch of those green baits, and then either free line them or fish them under a cork over the potholes and channels. And then also in Chattahoochee Bay, Captain Blake Nelson reports similar invasion of finfish baits on the flats, and he's been finding some big schools of trout on the grass on the north side of the bay. As always, when you're trout fishing, either drifting or using a troller motor across those flats, when you get a bite, stop the boat, either power pole or anchor, and thoroughly fish that area. Right now, the fish are in schools, so if you get one bite, you're very likely to get more than one bite in that very area before moving on. And then moving offshore, the king mackerel fishing has been exceptional this season. It continues to produce throughout the whole region. You don't need to go far offshore to get into the bite. Just stop outside of your path, use the sabiki rig, sabiki up some cigar minnows, some herrings, or some hardtails. And then once you got your bait, just immediately start fishing that area with a nose hook bait on a stinger rig. If you're not having the bites you want right there, move offshore to some of those shallow structure in 65 to 80 foot of water and fish in that area. The kings are running 30 up to about 30 pounds. A lot of them are 12 to 15 pounds, but you can get lucky and also hook up a sailfish. There was a 70-pound sailfish caught on the Panama City Pier this past week. So that's an opportunity to be had. And then further offshore, this time of year, early May, late April, the blue water scenes start heating up. There's been a lot of floating debris showing up, and when you find that debris, you're going to find dolphins and wahoos. and the water's looking pretty good color offshore. Captain Miles Colley on the Born to Run. He fished this past week out towards the Squiggles in southeast. Came back with a real nice catch of dolphin and wahoo, with one wahoo over 80 pounds. You want to look at your satellite images, figure out what those color changes are, and then troll a mixed spread of baits and lures. I talked to some Louisiana crews. They've been catching marlins and tunas southeast of the river. So it looks like the offshore scene is starting to look up for the Panhandle.
Hey, Pat, I got a couple questions for you. First
Yes,
question is, obviously, coming up to the Panhandle and fishing with you is a dream fishing trip. What do you think you're going to have planned for Brie? Obviously, the weather dependent.
I think hopefully with Brie we're going to have some pretty weather. We're going to fish out in the Gulf, fish some reefs and wrecks for amberjacks and red snapper, possibly some redfish on the beach. And then maybe if we're real lucky, we'll bump into a cobia or two. But I think the amberjacks and the red snappers are pretty much a given.
I'm so excited.
All right, the other question I have for you, Pat. You guys just had a significant amount of rain for the last few days. How has that changed the bay fishing inshore? Is that going to, how should guys adjust it?
Yeah, all of our bays have changed color from fairly clear to kind of a tan and tea-colored water. It's pushed a lot of the trout from the northern or the upper areas of the bay down in the lower areas. The water's warming up, the bay's showing up, so it's actually been not a bad thing. You just you got to take into account that, hey, this freshwater inflow has definitely pushed the trout further from the river mouth. The redfish, they don't really seem to mind.
All right, great job from the Panhandle region, Pat. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, big Spanish mackerel along the Mexico Beach and Cape San Blas on trolled gotcha, spoons, and jigs. And then offshore, king mackerel continue to be the best bite offshore on nearshore structure and around the passes, Brie. Well,
right.
Sounds like he's got a plan for you, baby.
He's got a plan for me.
You do.
I love it. I love a man with a plan. You know what I mean?
I do.
Okay, well, we're coming up on our last region in the Keys, so stay on the line and we'll be right back.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, find new roads. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. The IGFA, conservation through education. Get your hands wet. Florida Outdoor Experience. Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company. And there's no stopping Okuma.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
Fish Stock, the total saltwater experience, returns to New Smyrna Beach this Memorial Day weekend. Bring the whole gang to Riverside Park for an incredible family experience. Tournaments, boat shows, seminars, kids clinics, and the Fish Stock 5K Fun Run. Put your skills to the test in the Redfish Trout Challenge. And new this year, Boston Whaler and Marine Max offer $2,500 cash for the largest fish caught each day in the Offshore Striker Tournament. Don't miss out on the fun. Visit fishstock.com to register.
Introducing the Yeti Hopper. Leak-proof, ice for days, tough as nails. Built to go the extra mile, and then some.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
What does high-strength, roll-formed steel look like? Like this. Chevy Silverado. High-strength steel for high-strength dependability. Get $6,500 total value on this Silverado. Plus, Chevy owners get an additional $2,500. Plus 1 year of Sirius XM with every MLB game. See your local Chevy dealer today.
Today's Costa Conservation Minute is about the best photo practices. Now think about it this way, guys. When you're out on the water and you got that fish of a lifetime, you want to make sure you have a plan on what's best to take that picture. Now leaving him in the water is certainly something that's more preferred, like a tarpon or a sailfish, because when the fish is in his natural environment, he really looks good and you get a lot of brilliant colors that way. But more importantly, have a plan. If you're going to use your cell phone, make sure the passcode is turned off and it's ready to go. If your camera, if you're going to use it, make sure the camera case is unlocked, you have your camera out, and more importantly, while you're fighting the fish, discuss the pose that you're going to use in order to minimize the amount of time that the fish is out of the water. This is going to be better for you as well as the fish, and I hope that you take a world-class photo, and that's today's Costa Conservation Minute.
You know, Brie, we got some really cool news.
Yes?
CCA, as well as the Star Tournament, for every lady who came tonight, they're all going to become a member of CCA, courtesy of CCA Florida, as well as they're going to get a free entry fee into the Star Tournament. So how cool is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
Yay,
think that's
we
awesome
can clap for them
myself.
for that. Clap,
All
guys.
right.
I mean, ladies
That's
and
right.
guys. That's so cool. Well, I think we're going to head on down to the Keys. What do you think?
I'm ready. I'm riding with you.
All right, Captain Randy Tao knows a thing or two about fishing with the ladies, seeing as he has 4 women in his life, right, Randy?
That's it.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. That is right. I'll tell you what, I can tell you all about growing up in a house full of women, taking them fishing tournaments, and they say I yell at them, and I'm not very nice, which I never have understood. It's the coaching process that all of us fathers and boyfriends and husbands have with our girls on the boat. But, you know, it is nice to get them involved and have them, you know, be a part of tournaments and spending time with them out on the water. You know, growing up, my girls, that's what we did. We went fishing, and we spent a lot of time on the water, and it was special times, and it was memories. And, you know, there's events in the Keys if you want to be competitive, if you just want to have fun. You can go either way. There's some tournaments that have been around for a while. You've got the Poor Girls Sailfish Tournament that's in February, and you've also got the Casting for Cats, a backcountry tournament. And these 2 tournaments are run by Sharon Mahoney. She's the tournament organizer. And these are women only and all ages, and it's just for the ladies. There are some things down here that are just ladies only. Guys aren't allowed, but a lot of the guys get involved, and they give the ladies a break, or the husbands take the wives or girlfriends, and you make it a fun event, and that's really what it's all about. You've got another one, the ladies sailfish tournament, which is in February, in February, and you also have in the summertime a ladies dolphin tournament, and that's run by Diana Harbaugh in Islamorada as well, and she puts on a great tournament just like Sharon does. And these few tournaments that we're talking about are quite a bit. A lot of people attend these. They're real popular. They've been around. You've also got Betty Bauman with Ladies Let's Go Fishing. She's really started something that's turned into a big deal. She has a couple of events each year down in the Keys. She has them all over the place. And her motto is a no stress, no yelling kind of school to teach women how to do things and how to get more involved in fishing. So if you're a lady, there's certainly plenty of things you can get involved in. So you're not sitting on the sidelines if you want to participate, that's for sure.
All right, let's stay inshore, Randy. What you got?
You know, tarpon right now, it's been happening. This week has been really good. We've had some great weather. The backcountry tarpon bite has been pretty good and consistent for the fly guys. If you're a fly fisherman, now you've got to have a little better skill level than most, because you're fishing a little different where you're on dark bottom. You're fishing where you can't really see the fish as well as you would, say, on the ocean side. And when you switch gears and you go to the ocean side, if you're a fly fisherman, you got crystal clear water. You can see these fish coming from a long ways. And right now, the oceanside flats up and down the Keys, all through the Middle Keys, down to Key West, has had good numbers of tarpon on either tide, and these fish are a little difficult to feed. As you know, sometimes you'll sit there all day and throw at these tarpon and you'll only get one bite. So just because you see a bunch of them doesn't mean you're going to catch them. And if you're a bait fisherman, the live bait fishing has been excellent this week around all the bridges, and live mullet is still your best bet. And the crabs have been very hard to get right now. If you do have some crabs, definitely save them. You want to drift around with them on either the ocean side or the bay side, depending on your tide, and the crabs are working as well.
All right, let's go offshore, Bub.
On the reef scene right now, you've got grouper season getting ready to open May 1st, and that's a big deal in the Keys. Everybody loves to catch groupers. You can start from your favorite yellowtail spot, dropping a bait down on the edge of the reef while you're yellowtailing, or you can look at some of the deeper wrecks in 120 to 200 feet. Now, you're going to want a pretty stout rod with a live grunt or pinfish or blue runner to get down to them, and you're probably going to find a nice black or a red or maybe even a gag grouper, and they've been very plentiful the last couple of weeks, so I think they're in big trouble come May 1st. The dolphin right now offshore, good dolphin report. I would say it's dolphin season. Most everybody's finding them 650 feet. I would start all the way out to 1,200. I heard guys catching dolphin. Not a lot of big slammers, but certainly some gaffers and plenty of schoolies. And you want to look for debris. There's been a lot of debris floating this year for some reason, and there's been plenty of fish on the debris when you find it. So you want to get your binoculars out, have them ready, and just look for something floating, and it's probably going to pay off to you. I've got a photo of Andy Newman fishing with his buddy Mike Ferrari, and these guys were fishing on the Catch-22 with Scott Stanzik and had a real nice day on dolphin fishing offshore.
Hey, great catch, Andy. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the La Jolla hotspots from the Florida Keys. Inshore tarpon, anchor up in the current from the bridge and use live mullet, or drift in the current using live crabs for tarpon. And then offshore, dolphin. Start looking in 650 feet of water. Look for anything floating. Be ready with a spinner rod to cast at swimming dolphin, Brie.
Sounds good, Rick. Now it's time to tell you about some tournaments in the Florida Keys. The Nick Sheehan Dolphin Rodeo set for this weekend in Islamorada benefits a namesake community scholarship fund. Among cash prizes is $25,000 to the angler catching a dolphin that beats the state record. Marathon's Tarponian Tournament is scheduled May 3rd through the 6th. Rules mandate teams fish with a different captain each evening and rotate among 3 major marathon bridge channels, so potential hotspots are shared. What would you rather do on Mother's Day than to fish the Mother's Day Dolphin Tournament, set for May 8th and 9th in Marathon? There's more than $15,000 in cash and prizes, and the proceeds benefit Habitat for Humanity of the Middle Keys. The Golden Fly Invitational Tarpon Tournament, set for May 17th to the 20th in Islamorada, mandates that anglers must use tournament-furnished tippet not greater than 16-pound test. And now let's hear from our trusty correspondent in the Keys, Andy Newman.
Let's hear from him. Hey, Andy.
Hi, guys. There's more than $100,000 in cash and prizes during the Florida Keys Dolphin Championship, May 15th through the 17th. Now, this is a true Keys-wide tournament. There's 5 different weigh-in stations from Miami to Key West. $15,000 to the team that catches the largest dolphin by weight. In addition, the entrant who catches the largest dolphin weighing over 55 pounds wins $50,000 towards a new offshore series Sea Hunter boat. More details at FloridaKeysDolphinChampionship.com. And for more information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys, go to FLAKeys.com. Back to you in the studio.
You know, the Florida Keys really is the mecca of Keys tournaments. They have keys from inshore, offshore, and the thing that I really appreciate about it is almost every month they've got a tournament as far as any species. So they match the species with the best time of year.
That's
Love
awesome.
the fishing tournaments in the Keys.
And Mother's Day tournament. I mean, hello.
Can you think about anything more fun?
No, I can't. I'll bring my mom down here from Ohio.
Hey, Kathy, guess what we're doing?
Mother's Day tournament. All right, we're almost pulling up anchor, but stick around because we're telling you what to look forward to on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report next week. All the pretty ladies in the house.
Which car company is the first and only to offer built-in 4G LTE Wi-Fi in cars, trucks, and crossovers? Ranking from top to bottom.
I'm going to say Mercedes is the innovator.
BMW just because they're pricey.
The final answer? Chevy.
This model has the Wi-Fi in it?
Yep.
That's the dream, to have Wi-Fi in the car.
Get cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select 2015 models. That's over $3,100 on the Chevy Cruze. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline four-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Forage fish are small fish that hold marine food webs together. Put simply, forage fish like pilchards turn sunshine into snook. The IGFA and other conservation organizations are working with the FWC to improve forage fish management in Florida. Ensuring that there's enough food in the water for our game fish will maintain Florida's legacy as the fishing capital of the world. Visit floridaforagefish.org to learn more and to sign the Forage Fish Pledge.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And make sure to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up. Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're talking tarpon. It's going to be tarpon time, so be sure to tune in to SunSports every Thursday. Plus, you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Make sure to check your local listings for times. Hi, guys. And ladies, Rick.
Hey, girls, you guys did a great job. I want you to know.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I'm really impressed with the new products in the workbench.
you
Got a
know.
little facelift, much needed, of course.
Yep.
But I just actually got a text from a buddy of mine, and he asked me, Tanya, if I would take a picture with you. He wanted to know what your status was, so I'm going to go ahead and take this picture. How about that?
But first, let me take a selfie, right?
Yeah. Thank you. for
All
being
right,
here.
Rick. Well, we'll let you mingle. Allie and I are just going to say bye to everybody. Goodbye.
guys.
We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week. Rick, what time is it next week?